Oh my goodness. Hello there. It's Bev, host of the Bev D Show. And I have not done this for a while and a few technical problems here and there, but we worked through it. We got this. Uh, Good afternoon. It is my hope that all of the problems that I'm hearing sound wise that you are not. So, hello, 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 and welcome back. It has been a while. There's been a lot going on, lots to catch up on, but here we are. It is April 1st. Again, this is Bev. This is the Bev D Show. I want to thank all of the amazing new listeners that, because of technology and all of the beautiful software and ways of connecting is out there, that people from all over the world are listening to this show. So I thank you so much. I'm in a situation now where things have changed dramatically. And I mean, as they have for many. So I don't want to seem like this is a situation that's only happening to me, but this is my story, this is my life, and I get a few minutes with a captive audience. We are broadcasting live. I will be in a situation where I can take live calls coming up in the near future, but today I kind of wanted to focus on a couple of special messages. I, like many millions of folks around the world, I found myself temporarily unemployed. And what does that mean? That means that until we get through this, until there's some sort of end in sight, I do not report to my current employer with any active duties. So no responsibilities on that front. We are in a situation where we are a sales organization, and we sell advertising, and that's the main fuel that runs our engine, so to speak. And with businesses so unfortunately having to close or temporarily close or close for good, the volume that we are used to seeing and the volume of advertising placements that we're used to seeing are a little bit, or majorly declining, I should say. And I'm a recruiter and a sales trainer. So hiring on new folks and training those people is been put on hold. So we are in a pause. But for me, I cried for a day, off and on, the whole day I found out it's terrible. And I cried about myself, my family, all the things that you would think of. But I also was a complete mess over the reality of what's going on out there. The reality of the people that, are not, I'm praying that I do get to have the unemployment benefits come through. I'm counting on that. I'm thinking about the people that don't have that opportunity, and that weighs heavy on my heart. Ever since I was a little girl, I remember, those of you who don't know from past shows, I have a red port wine stain birthmark on the on the side of my neck, and I don't know whether it was that or that kids wanted to pick on me or whatever. But I could always sense the most tender person in the room, the person in the room that was hurting most. I just always had this weird sensitivity about me, and could read people and not know their exact feelings, but knew when things were off. And I'm certainly feeling, as I'm sure many are feeling, the weight of what's going on in our world. But, and that came down pretty heavy on Monday when I found out my personal news, and that I was being temporarily laid off. And so I started thinking about everybody and all of the people that, are hurting, are lonely, are in quarantine in their apartments or their homes. Certainly thinking about the homeless. When you think of hopelessness, you certainly think of those folks, and I always have had that special place in my heart for them. But in addition to that, the one way to get them out of that is to get them back to work and to get them in a situation, and it's difficult. And so now obviously with the job market and the business market and the economic market the way that it is, they're in a pretty special situation too, because they now do not have the hope for a brief while. Hopefully it's only a handful of weeks or a couple of months, but to get us back up and going, it's going to be a while. So we've got our unemployed, we've got our homeless, we've got certainly, and not lastly, but the sick. We've got people across the world just praying for a ventilator, a mask, a bed, hopeful for medical care. And then, I was talking to one of my managers today. He was kind. He was one of the folks I recruited for, and he reached out just to see how I was doing. And we were chatting, and I said, whenever, prior to any virus, prior to anything, whenever I felt my lowest through the challenges that I've been through, there's a way that I can almost flip a switch and put it into perspective. And my perspective is I instantly think of Children's Hospital and the children that are in there, the parents with the unknown, or some of those St. Jude's commercials, and just see those sweet little faces of kids who are sick, harmed, hurt, through no fault of their own. Certainly, we're supposed to be caring for them as well as the elderly. It's our responsibility to be doing things for them, but that's my perspective. That's where I go. I instantly started thinking of the parents that are unable to see their kids because they can't. They're spreading this virus, or, they can't hold their hand anymore. They can't be a part of that. So, suddenly the fear and the sadness of my daily ritual of working was, suddenly put into perspective. And the beauty of all of this, and this is not going to be all doom and gloom, that is not what this is about. I know that we have enough of that in our world, and, I'm not going to be all pretending like everything is fine and good. But for myself personally, I am a writer. And that can busy my mind really well. And I love this show. And I want to grow it. I want to do a lot of different things with it. I'm getting some special guests lined up for the near future. But there's so much I can do here because this is a dream. This is my dream, and what I always wanted to do. And the only thing I ever wanted to do was be on the radio. And however corny or whatever that sounds, my boyfriend got me set up and with equipment and all the things that I needed just to at least get my voice out, with no special effects or nothing that, no videography, which I would love to have, none of that right now, but certainly hasn't enough to where I can get my voice out. And it was October 2018 when we started this. And I did it with the hope of having one listener that maybe wasn't my family or best friend, that possibly that was listening out of guilt, I suppose, but possibly helping one. And I'm back at it. And the news on Monday really gave me a swift kick that said, there's only, I can't control that. I can't control the unemployment of everyone. I can't control this illness. The only thing I can do is try to respond and control my actions. And so I got to thinking and I thought, well, this is perfect timing. This is a great time for me to be able to reach out and get my show back on track and talk to some folks and reach out to you all. We do have we are on so many mediums now, and I do believe that that's the reason why the worldwide listening audience has increased. But we're on, we're Spotify. We're on so many different types of mediums where you can find this podcast, and so I'm pretty excited about that. I do want to, I did open up talking about there's no way you can ignore what's going on, and it's not an elephant in the room that I would choose not to talk about. It is the way that we are now. This is our life, and it's causing adjustment and pause and incubation and isolation, and we're it's a change. It's dramatic, and that's not news. By the way, I understand that this is not news. The things that I'm talking about, what I'm trying to do through this conversation that I'm having with a microphone is process that this is something that none of us could have ever imagined. And I'm probably the millionth person to say that. But what's happening is the very thing I love to do most is if I see an old friend is to hug them. I love to cook, and I don't just love to cook for myself and my boyfriend. I love to have parties. I love people over. I have 3 amazing daughters, and they're sending me pictures of how they're cooking inside their homes, and that makes me very proud and happy. But it is a sudden realization that, Easter's coming up. That's a big fat family meal that I'm used to having that we can't. All of us are feeling that, and just, cooking is a way that I share love, and not to be able to do that the way that I like and share that with others in this capacity is, that human connection is what I think is, we've got symptoms of this virus, and they say shortness of breath and coughing and everything from fatigue. But we also have a secondary one, and it's the loss of human connection, human touch, hugging, holding hands, grandmas holding babies, and grandpas, holding hands with their grandchildren as they cross the street. Those things are halted. They're absolutely on pause. And our dear, sweet loved ones in these nursing homes that are celebrating birthdays through glass windows. I mean, we have a way, and we will prevail, and we are celebrating through glass windows, parades, driving, balloons, things like that, that we can share in the joy. But for me, it is a plague of a loss of a human connection. So what do? Well, we got to fix that, and we got to fix that and alter, just like all of the good things that I'm seeing. I look for good. I am a huge social media person, and I look for the good on those. I get really caught up sometimes in the political madness and the way that our some of the people that are competing are against our leadership that is trying to get us through this. I can get caught up in that negativity, and it can consume you. I urge you to create a balance. Yes, news. Yes, politics is not going away. But also balance that with your positivity. Your craft. What's your craft? What do you love? Me, I love to talk and write. And I like to color, and I like to decorate. So, and with the good of either helping others' hearts